Greetings everyone, hey, how you doing? It's Matt Sella. Today we are doing another spoiler talk episode review of The Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 4, Sanctuary. Joined here remotely, in a galaxy far, far away, it's Marc telling us his opinion on the episode as well. How you doing out there, Marc?
I'm eating a bunch of blue shrimp.
Oh, nice. Do they have a good crunch to it?
I can't tell if they're spoiled or just alien.
Either way, it'll benefit somebody. Now, before we begin, I'm going to give a quick disclaimer. This video, despite talking about a general family show on Disney Plus that is rated PG, this video podcast and review is meant for older audience members, specifically college age or older. The purpose of this video is to talk about the filmmaking aspect, the narrative writing, and all that other analytical stuff that Marc and I can do regarding the Mandalorian episode. So keep that in mind, folks. This is not for the wee ones. With all that out of the way, Marc, why don't you tell us what is the general synopsis for this action-adventure story of The Mandalorian?
Mando and the baby are fleeing the raid of bounty hunters, chasing them across the galaxy. They settle on an inhospitable, swampy planet where a village is constantly under siege by the Klatooinian raiders, who torture them as they harvest their blue shrimp. There, Mando meets an old friend by the name of Cara Dune, and together they will help defend the village and teach them how to be defending themselves from these raiders. But there may be more to the raiders than meets the eye, and a mechanical menace lurking in the trees.
Well, that's it. What a wonderful tale, Marc!
It is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That was so beautiful. So, Marc, let's jump back to you because I gotta catch my breath from doing that horrible singing. What were some of your favorite moments of this episode?
Baby Yoda. I'm not going to be ashamed to admit it. I love this kid.
I know. I think we all do. And what's funny, I don't mean to interrupt you already, but I love the fact that I was watching Double Toast's reaction to how Disney handled the marketing. And oh boy, dude.
Yeah, that was very fair. The official merchandise for Baby Yoda at the moment, and anybody who's been keeping track of this would know already, it looks like the bootleg merchandise for this show.
I know. It's like what they said on Double Toast. It's like Cafe Express. That's what it looks like it was made by. No, Cafe Press. Is it Press or Express? Either way, it looked like garbage.
Either way, Disney Plus also had some business cards printed with that order.
But yeah, no, I agree with your initial thoughts there. It's like, I love that we got a little bit more of Baby Yoda in here. And you mentioned to me that there was some zany uses of him in a good way.
Yeah, just in the beginning when Mando is telling him to, stay in the ship. And we do find out he is actually a he. So I feel good about saying that now in this episode. Tells him to stay in the ship, it's all that stuff. And the door opens to the ship and Mando's standing there. But then right next to him, you see Baby Yoda. And it was almost this like droopy Tom and Jerry-esque like reveal. It gave me a good laugh. I like that this is, for all intents and purposes, a fairly serious show, but also can have, just funny moments, because at the end of the day, Star Wars is for everyone, I think.
And that's its intention.
Mm-hmm. Also, just like, especially in those scenes, like Mando's just trying to be a good dad. Like Mando might already be the best dad we've seen in Star Wars.
Oh, dude, them's fighting words, but I think you're right.
I'm just saying Mando hasn't chopped off Baby Yoda's hand yet.
No, not at all. Well, some of the other positives for me is I've mentioned this in the past before that I really like more of the adventurous aspect of the show, not so much like the deep-seated narrative-driven like underbelly type stuff. And I feel like this episode really delivered in that angle and like exploring like a new setting. Mando has a goal in mind, which is to find a safe place for Baby Yoda, or we still don't know its name or the species names, but for the most part, that's what people call it. And we meet some interesting characters and have a somewhat unique setting, at least compared to like what we've seen in Star Wars, at least the main movies and shows.
Yeah, it wasn't an ice or desert planet.
It wasn't quite an Endor planet. It was more of like Northern American forest type setting with prairies.
Yeah, and some wetlands and stuff. And Actually, this village gave me either a very Avatar vibe, if the Avatar show was live action, a few of those settings, or if not, it had a very much just straight up sort of fantasy feel to it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And we got some interesting fight scenes, especially between Mando and you said it was like Delta Dune. What was her name?
Cara.
Cara Dune. I don't know why. For a while, I just called her the Star Wars Lady Sith because she kind of gave me that vibe a little bit.
Not inaccurate. Voiced. I've been spending too much time with cartoons. Played by Gina Carano and used to the best of her abilities, but also for me didn't leave much of an impression compared to Nick Nolte's character. And that's a very unfair criticism.
But also at the same time, like, I think this definitely won't be the last time we'll see her. And she was very capable, and I actually kind of liked her fight between her and Mando.
It was very visceral.
Like, there were a couple of times when, like, they were kind of going back and forth, punching each other in the face / helmet. And then she kind of, like, does this drop down with, like, a massive haymaker on Mando. I was like, damn, that's some brutal fighting. And I like it.
It was.
I was confused at first because Mando originally introduced her as a trooper, which at first I thought, oh, was she like one of the defected stormtroopers? But then later on mentions actually she was part of the rebellion at one point, if I heard that correctly.
No, you heard that correctly. And it was an interesting turn, especially, we don't really see that sort of angle from the good side very much.
But overall, I think this was a really fun episode for me. You and I, we mentioned, like, it may not be like our top favorite episode. I think for me personally, episode 2 is still my favorite, but this one is definitely kind of like up between episode 2 and 3 for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Really the only negative I had for this episode is the way it ended, where, yes, Mando was able to save the village from the raiders and the weird walker robot thing, and he was kind of ready to settle down, or at least have Baby Yoda settle down, but then one of a random bounty hunter was about to snipe Baby Yoda, but then ends up being, like, knocked out by Cara Dune. And while not quite the same, it's very similar to what Marc mentioned to me about IG-11 and Mando in the first episode, where it's like it's another shootout, fake out kind of thing. And Mando's like, oh, well, I guess Baby Yoda's not safe here, so I guess I'll keep going with him. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it didn't bother me entirely, but it was kind of something I could definitely see happening more times than not in terms of a narrative tool.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, for the amount of characters we got, I didn't find too many of their interactions very memorable, especially for how long it was.
Yeah, I think that was a weird criticism we both had. It's like, this was a really long episode, and I don't know if the other ones were shorter. I don't remember.
I know episode 2 was.
But I don't know, just had some minor issues with it. But overall, I think I had a lot of fun watching this.
Oh yeah, still very solid and still looking forward to more. And a shout out to Bryce Dallas Howard, who is the second woman to direct a live-action Star Wars project.
Probably get more in the future, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, folks, I think that's relatively it for me and Marc. Not really much to go on, except that this was a fun episode. I think we both agree on that. Some minor little issues, but I'm quite curious to see where the adventures of Mando and the Baby Yoda will go next.
And all I'm saying is that ATST was acting like it was kind of self-aware and not just piloted. It was weird.
Yeah, I will say that before we go, actually. Like, I always assumed that the walkers were piloted. For that one, it kind of looked like there was a droid controlling it or something, like it was running on AI, but they never really covered whether or not if it was operated by a raider or not.
Yeah, because we didn't see any in there.
No, we just saw some red hue, and that's really it.
Which was also weird for a walker, I felt.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool and scary for a kid probably, but for its purpose, I guess it was just to intimidate.
Yeah, most likely.
And that'll do it for our review, spoiler talk, for The Mandalorian, Season 1, Episode 4, Sanctuary. You heard our opinions, but now we want to hear yours. Let us know in the comment section below. Have you seen the episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Share your thoughts. Join the conversation. If you like reviews just like this, subscribe to my podcast channel. Ring that bell to be notified when new videos drop. Like this video, and if you want to support me directly, please go to my Patreon at patreon.com/Matt Sella. Consider donating. As low as $1 a month will help go towards my podcast channel, art, animation, and content made just for you. This is Matt Sella.
This is Marc.
Thanking you all for tuning in.